Hi, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Taboo Talk, featuring your very own pastor, me, Lady Charmaine Day. Today's show is guaranteed to be full of sensitive, intimate, natural conversations rarely talked about in the Christian community. So now get ready for your own very spiritual consultation. Are you ready? Let's begin. How are you doing, beautiful? I know you are marvelous, incredible, phenomenal, and special, and so precious, because those are all the words I would use to describe you. You simply are well put together and well maintained, and you are a breath of fresh air. And you make everyone who encounters you feel special. So let me give you a warm round of applause for being so special and so great. Yay! Thank you for all that you do. God works through people, and he's working through you to be a blessing to others, and you make God look great. I have a few announcements before beginning the show today. If you haven't already, please download onto your Android or your iPhone the Lady Charmaine Day app. This app is my gift to you for being a part of the ministry and watching Taboo Talk Virtual Show. The Lady Charmaine Day app has features that allow you to watch this virtual show from your phone, to listen to old episodes of the radio show, to read my blog, and to call in with a prayer request. I will pray with you and pray for you. And there's also a tip calculator and QR scanner for your convenience. So please download the Lady Charmaine Day app today. And when you have a chance, please visit ladycharmaineday.com. There you can read more about the ministry, read more about this show, read my blog, see up-to-date pictures and videos, and there's so much more. There's even free gifts. So please visit my website, and while there, make a purchase. It's through your purchases that I continue to do my ministry. And my ministry is done online through Taboo Talk Radio Virtual Show, through my website, through my app, and through my social media. So if you're following me through one of those mediums, I consider you part of the ministry, and I'm praying for you all the time. And then my last announcement before beginning the show is to thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's because of you that this show is so successful, and you are a blessing to me and to all who are a part of this program. So thank you. God bless you. Well, today we are in the presence of a living legend. We have Holly Francis-Merritt, aka Lady Holly, on the show today. And let me tell you about Lady Holly. Holly Francis-Merritt is an entertainer and leadership consultant. Lady Holly is a writer, public speaker, and is among the new emerging socially engaged spiritual life coaches. Author of a line of semi-autobiographical erotic novellas called The Big Girl's Bedtime Books. She is also an award-winning indie R&B soul artist and mother of 5. Through her music and a thirst for knowledge, she began her journey post-divorce with a commitment to making sure in a digital age, people did not forget the art of touch. As a student at the School of Immortal Sciences, Rama Institute, and One Taste, began taking her spiritual, mental, and emotional healing practices and sexual educations on exploration. In addition to her journey of exploration, she's a 22-plus year career veteran in organizational management, culture, human capital management, compensation and benefits, and strategic management development. Lady Holly is invested in inspiring natural leaders with fine-tuning and honing their abilities to become power brokers. Lady Holly has used her knowledge, skills, and talents to open her own record label and production company. She's also a consultant to corporations and universities around leadership development and personal branding. Help me help you by welcoming this living legend, Lady Holly. Lady Holly, how are you? I can hear you.
I said, Ashe, Queen. Oh, that's, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. I said, I can't, mic drop. I can't, I'm the interview done. You just said everything. I was like, who was that? Who's she talking about?
Lady Holly, you are such an incredible force in nature. We're so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it is always my pleasure to come visit and hang out and spend time and, be able to drop some science where I can and just share and be a part of the community. So I appreciate that you invite me and continue to just include me in your ministry and in your thoughts and in your prayers and in your family life. So I appreciate you, Ashe Queen, for sharing at that level. We've been friends a long time. So I'm just in awe of your accomplishments as well. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. And Holly, let me tell you something. You have been with Taboo Talk from the very beginning, when it was a cable show and when it was a radio show, and now it's a virtual show, and you're here still. We love you.
Thank you for having me. So yeah, I'm here.
Well,
Witness it.
Holly, I wanted to get the conversation started first by acknowledging 9/11. Today is September 11th,
Yes.
and we
Yes.
always will remember.
Never forget. Never forget.
Any thoughts you would like to share on that topic?
Well, it's interesting. Today, as I did my post to my social media page, that was actually that was my comment, was that I don't necessarily need to see the building picture anymore, because that's not what it looks like on a go forward basis. And we can't change the past, but we can always remember, in our ability, as we look at the comparisons for me of a global pandemic. Is one thing I can say about New Yorkers, and that's, shout out to Governor Cuomo, is that and at the time, Giuliani and, and on, we are resilient, and through whatever we need at this stage. The resilience is a big word through these things. And so as a mom of 5, I sit now as a grandma of 1, which is awesome,
Hey,
as I sit and look and,
congratulations.
yeah, and thank you. And to sit there and think, well, what can I leave my children? What can I give them that gets them through this uncertainty of a future that I have no idea where it's going? Is resilience. It is a word for me today, in my reflective state, that is paramount for us to build a resilience to the negative imagery, to the social justice issues, in a way that doesn't desensitize us, but that continues to position us with a level of strength to be able to do what we need to do to move forward and position ourselves for future growth in all of our pursuits. And so that's where I was this morning in my reflective closet moment of what 9/11 and some of the, preparing for this and knowing what some of the similarities are around what skills that I call on to get my organization paid, and walking out into the middle of Grand Central Station as one tower, I guess my office in one tower fell, and then I watched, and so what were the skills that I had to bring to bear? And they were not textbook skills. They were resilience. They were common sense skills. They were compassion and empathetic skills. And so, after this is said and done, as we hopefully get near a vaccine or some sort of cure or some sort of larger scale containment, because if you've seen the list of the states that have been added to the list, it looks like the United States is a red state because they're coloring it in red, and I'm just like, that's not fair. That's making me think that it's all Republican. This is about COVID. And it's unfortunate that, you know, there's only a few states that are in gray, that are not still at these astronomical numbers, and New York is one of them. And so again, we did the work, we did the isolation, we did what was required to get this under, not control, because I don't think we've controlled it, but to get it contained in areas and to understand it better and to understand the patterns of how it spikes and how it doesn't spike. And using good data, I think, to make informed decisions is where the resilience comes in as a leader, as a parent, as an educator. And so those are some of the things that are on the forefront of my mind today as we discuss our topics. Those are the ones.
Oh, thank you, Holly. And I'm glad that you shared with us your insights that you had for 9/11. They really helped me to put everything in perspective. And one of the things I want to talk to you about while you were here is for those people who are struggling in the pandemic, who are trying to figure out, how do I get total mind, body, and spirit wellness? How do I care for myself? A lot of people are on the fringes, not doing well. And I want you to speak to those people today to help them have total mind, body, and spirit wellness.
That's awesome. So for me, I'm gonna so resilience was for that portion of it, but mindfulness is the other one. It is to tell yourself that, to be honest with yourself about what this is and how it impacts individuals. And so you have to look at this from a self-reflective moment of, where's my diet? Where's my immune system? Where's my, kind of get selfish in the moment of it all to see where you are, so that you can then understand where your resilience will come into play. Where are you financially as this has happened, and what can you do? What have you been doing? What can you try? Who can you call? And what things can you put in place or tap into that you may have at your disposal that you didn't have before, or you didn't think about? A lot of people didn't touch their retirement funds and haven't touched or moved or rolled over so that they can get access to funds. And what is it that we really want out of this, our future shift with the COVID reality, right? It is, how are you taking care of your self-care, and how are your friends and family doing that as well? And what things where do you place value? This disease was very truthful in that it is airborne and it impacts people at a very crucial point. So when you start thinking about, some of the, if you hear the stories, the breathing and some of the issues around, not being able to beat this fever, and then some of the, flu-like symptoms that you are further exacerbated by having this strand of influenza or coronavirus. The 19 is where when God became crazy. So what is it that we need to do to make sure that we are just being good global citizens? So like, in every color now, this mask people are looking at it as a takeaway, and I'm looking at it as this has now become part of our reality for some time now. And quite frankly, I'm actually enjoying sometimes the mask, because it also makes people have to engage you in a different way, because sometimes they can't hear you because you're muffled, but they can see you. And so your eye expressions and your even when you smile, people go, oh, I'm taking a picture and I've got the mask on. It's like, Tyra Banks, shout out to you, because you taught us to smile with our eyes and to be kind with our facial expressions. It really makes a difference. But it's also about me not knowing it's not about who has it or who doesn't have it. It's about being good global citizens to one another, to be in a protective state. I work in city government during the day, and so there are times at which it gets to be monotonous. And if we're in a space where we are socially distant, we take them off. We don't keep them on. It's not like you have to sit there with it on the entire time if you're not, projectile spinning it on someone. You're 6 feet away so that you can get air. I think what people are also forgetting is that there are tinctures and aromas that help you during the day. And so for me, I have an atomizer, and so during the day I put in a scent. It depends on the scent. And it's funny because I'm like, what do I want? I want lavender and chamomile. So toward the end of the day, around 3 in the morning, I'm using this thing called geranium woods, which is a little bit of the citrus and orange and cardamom. And so for me, it's like it helps to cleanse out my palate because we are wearing these things and they are blocking our olfactory senses. And so for me, in terms of where your chakras are, where you're placing value on your wellness and your health in the first place, is making a difference to how you are kind of receiving the information about this disease. Quite frankly, it was on a Lysol can for how many years now. So it's not something new. It's a new strand of corona, but it is not a new virus. And so for us to be living in a world where we can now, as a result of corona impacting the meat markets and things of that nature, I'm hoping that people come out of this in a much more plant-based, healthier, environment for their bodies, and hopefully that is helping with their states of mental health. And on one side of the coin, I feel like we were very much a fast food nation, and that we were going to this, everything had to be our way and fast, and now, and corona made us sit down and take a minute. And so the gratitude that I express for my family being able to come to the dinner table together now and not be so overly booked up that we don't have time to enjoy one another has been amazing. And shout out to my children and getting a grandbaby in this world without COVID, and being able to lock in with my daughter for 3 days to deliver him. And then just recently this weekend, shout out to the hotels that are, trying to keep their business afloat, and they're really concerned about people being able to relax. And so this long weekend, taking my grandson to the pool and knowing that I had to schedule an appointment for the pool and there was a limit on the people in the pool, and getting him back in the water before he was 3 months was important to us. So we're swimmers, and I just believe babies have been swimming for the whole time they were in utero. So when you take them out, that's the one thing they do know how to do when they get here is swim. To be able to swim with him in a contained environment, so my daughter's anxiety wasn't all over the place. And then my youngest was able to figure out how to help her nephew swim and naturally watch him adapt to the water and be in just this cocoon of love was amazing, right? And so it is not saying no, I won't do this, and no, I won't go here. I will never blow on a candle on a birthday cake ever again, right? I will wave it down now. I will never, or like my friend does, you get a cake pop or a cupcake and you leave the candle in that, but you will never blow out your candles on a cake ever again and trust that you're going to eat that cake because of this disease. Like, it's changed some stuff. But it is also being honest with every moment, and it's okay to not be okay all the time. But as long as you're aware and you you sound the alarm or the horn, and you phone a friend and you use your lifeline, right? To ensure that somebody's aware that you're maybe spiraling, or aware that you're isolating and you haven't come outside. But to somebody like, for me, I haven't had the ability to isolate for any time because I do work in city government and we have to make sure everybody else is okay. But the beauty is that, every now and again, my buddy brings me a Starbucks run from the drive-through Starbucks and leaves it at my door, or somebody dropped off a bottle of wine with a bow for my birthday because we couldn't do birthday. But now that we can actually go to restaurants and, support our local businesses, it's beginning to feel a lot like community. It's beginning to feel like a victory for me on so many other levels, that the negative takeaway of the disease in and of itself and our lackluster leadership that didn't have us prepared for it. But the world's response to this in different pockets has been tremendously interesting and demonstration of a resilience that it's going to take to get us through this. I'm not happy about schools and not being able to get in the building, but I'm also not happy that the schools were overcrowded to begin with. And so our inability to come up with a plan that makes people feel safe is because we are trying to cram so much into this little itty bitty living space box and trying to force feed it. And so the level of creativity that we are tasking for our educators and for our businesses and for our leaders to come up with innovation in this time, again, leads you back to the word resilience. Because how, I may not be able to, some of the movie theaters have come up with a way to do it. I love Southwest. I love JetBlue American. I love that we're going to now take this as an opportunity to not cram people on the plane. And my God, if you haven't been flying, then you can't come out and then try to price gouge a flight that now, is right now $49, because they're trying to get people back on planes. And there's some people who are so isolated and so far removed who don't have anyone who I'm worried about. So they're on the fray and on the fringe are the people that don't have a support system, that don't have a church family, or don't have anyone who they can reach out to. And I strongly commend you, because you are that kind of outlet for those people. And I commend like my recreation department who reach out to their senior citizens and get a list and like literally go to your city government. The fact that we're feeding people and with the basic supplies because they just don't have the money. The reality is of what this country has to do to rebound. And it's not about the election per se, other than the resilience to make sure you go vote and make and be active in the change that you seek at every level is important and paramount in any election, specifically this one. But where we have been in this cycle of waste, I feel like this is an opportunity for us to tap into uncharted territory that we started to ship off to other countries to do because we thought we could do it cheaper and faster and bigger and better. It's our task now to bring it on home. Like it just really is. It really is an opportunity for us to reframe and rethink and breathe a fresh ruach breath into building ourselves up as a country. We have our street cred out here in these streets is real low. It's our popularity rating is really not high, because we're looking like a place where people cannot come to have freedoms that the very foundation of it on one side of the house, that's what it was for. And so, from one side of the house, you look at it and you go, how do we safeguard that? How do we innovate something new? How do we breathe a new breath into it? And so I task you to reach out and to know when you're hurting, and to know that hurt people hurt people. So if you're hurting, sometimes you may lash out at a family member who calls and you may not be receptive, but you have to then get reflective to say, you know what? I haven't talked to so-and-so in 40 weeks. Social media makes it fair for me to be able to share photos and know what's going on in your life from a cursory perspective. But how do we get real about the fact that if you just pick up the phone sometimes or text message or messenger the person and go get the telephone number, because I can tell you these things have made it so that we don't know anybody's number off the top of our head anymore. I think I know like 3 numbers. I think I have to think about my number. I know my mother's house phone number. And, I know a couple of my kids' numbers by heart, but I can tell you the information that I don't have anymore at the tip of my fingertips because of these devices. But I do know that there's something important about hearing your voice. I do know that there's something important about getting a hug. I do know that even a lot of people have said that they went and got animals during this period or got, a buddy. And so whatever it is for you, be honest about what the need is, and then go get it. Like for me, it was I felt like I am. My kind of self-care was spending those times to have happy hour or a girl catch up or, my daughter's, all her graduating class is on this big Zoom call. So all of them get on, if they can get on, they get on, if they can't, they can't. And they have this kind of a touch point of them actually trying to see each other, because they can't fly, and they can't meet up and they can't go on, they can't do these things, but they can stay plugged in and they can pick up the phone and say, I'm spiraling today. Give me a good word. And I can tune into some positive affirmations from, my pastor, Charmaine, Lady Charmaine Day, and I can tune in to your local pastor, and I can tune in to feel good, the feel good positivity that's out there that a lot of people are trying to bring forth. And you are in control of your consumer media consumption. And so sometimes for me, I don't watch the news all the time. I pick. I'm very much a curated news watcher. I curate what I want to watch, and I go down the rabbit hole of the information I want more of through all of my social media channels. But I don't let the news. I remember when I grew up in a household where we had the 5, the 7, and my aunts would leave it on, and I'm just like, what is nothing but repetitive crap? Like, why are we watching that?
Yeah.
Why are we listening to that narrative? And quite frankly, now that we don't, not that we don't have control of the news, but since the news is very much about what people want you to see versus what you should be learning, I task you to be resilient enough to go learn something new every day. I do this word genius now. Every day I want a new word in my life. I want a new saying. I want a new affirmation that I can put out there. I've learned, I'm into this art of healing thyself. And so in terms of natural remedies and herbs and things that I'm going to put in my body, and, through Reiki and through other Rama Institute, in terms of breathing techniques, and the frequency of love is, anywhere from 314 to 512, like vibrating. What does it feel like to vibrate at that level, so that you don't get into this cacophony of woe is me and the world just bleak. I feel like this is a blackboard. I feel like 2020 is a blackboard, and some of the stuff got wiped off. And you know what? For 2021, what are we going to do? Because we're almost there. Like, people don't realize it's October for the most part. It's already the middle of September. Let's be almost.
Hello.
So it's almost October. And so the end of the year is fast approaching. And so what are we going to do, to make a difference and be that change that we seek? And or just raise your hand and say hi, and be acknowledged and get your voice heard. Help someone who, I always feel great when I reach out and I help someone to do something, and whether that's a senior citizen or a young person who may be struggling. And do it because you can, because you're able, not because you're looking or seeking to gain anything from it. And there's like so much going on a grassroots level, that I find it refreshing. So those are some of the things that I want the community to do, to make sure that they are living in this, self-reflection, gratitude, spirituality, connection to God, right? You're in your vertical, and then you've got all this other stuff that impacts you every day. But if you understand whose you are, who you serve, where your values are, where your ethics, where your values are, it makes it easier for these very critical issues to be worked out in the real time, in this dimension, in this, the now space and time.
Holly, I just wanted to say what you said was so critical. First of all, you covered a lot of territory, and you just really honed in on the critical issues that we are dealing with. But one of the things that you said that I thought really resonated with me was knowing the vertical, and knowing the horizontal, whose you are, whose you serve, who you belong to, and all the in between of what's your responsibility, the sign of the cross. I love that. That was a very, very touchy metaphor. And also, Holly, what are your final thoughts on what we can do to stay well during this crisis?
So mind, body, soul, right? So in my in my daily search for um, things to keep my mind thinking and thriving and growing, because we use such a small portion of this huge muscle, is go learn another language. There's so many courses and things being thrown out here. Go jump down the rabbit hole from a learned perspective. Like, go learn something you just didn't know before. Sign language, anything, just anything that's going to fire the synapses in a different way. Anatomy, actually, part of me got into really looking at the human body and the systems, because we are a feedback system. The body is not designed to break down. The body is designed to heal itself and to continue to move. So for me, for your mind to thrive, it needs to be fed. And so you need to feed it with things that are going to stimulate you to do something or motivate you to do something different, that also then fire off other parts of the brain to ignite your endorphins, or your, whatever, depending upon what you're getting into or looking at or learning. It's going to make you more active, and making you more active increases your heart rate, your body, and so you start to feel better, because you're starting to feed yourself on one level. Then feeding yourself. So then the body, right? The body requires food, and I really have this thing about, if you don't love it, don't eat it. If it's a thrill, it's the instant fix, be okay with the fact that you can call that your cheat day, or call it your thing, because Lord knows I love a Funyun. There is something fundamentally okay about my Funyun break or my baked Doritos. But I also don't do that every day. I know when I'm doing it, and I eat so healthy on the other side that when I do take that cheat moment, I'm never worried. I don't have, for it scared me that my mom had a pill box, and I never wanted, like, that just scared me. And I was like, wow, there's certain things that you don't need to take, and down to a $75 inhaler. When we went to Egypt in February, I got her real essential peppermint oil. And in a cup of hot water, we put 3 drops of peppermint oil. And for every month that she doesn't have to buy that $75 inhaler, I told her to put that $75 in a dream jar. And whatever at the end of the year, and by January of this coming year, whatever she has in that jar that she has saved up because she doesn't have to buy that inhaler, that's for her to go wild. I don't care what she spends it on. Go crazy. Buy something for herself. Whatever it is. But she no longer is subscribing to the fact that she is in a diseased state. She's not. Her olfactory senses are working, and it's because she took a chance to put down something that a doctor was prescribing to her for a myriad of reasons. But the peppermint in the essential oil in the hot water through her olfactory is doing the same thing on a much more natural basis without all the chemicals. And so we put it down, and we put down a few other items in her healthcare regimen, and it's been refreshing to be able to be on that exploration of mind, body, and soul. So mind, body, soul, eat good food, portion conscious, because people talk about they gained weight, and I lost weight in COVID, so I don't know what that's about. But you don't need to be the comfort foods. After a while, you realize that they're not breaking down your body, and if you're not working out and you can't go to the gym and you can't do all those things, then please don't have all the comfort foods and then complain that you gained the COVID-19. You got to be conscious of what you're doing, and that's why I say be honest. And then soul, scripture, word, fellowship, the quiet in the storm. So your ability to stay connected to wherever your belief system is paramount, because you cannot hear the voice, and you don't feel that you can, you don't have the level of discernment anymore, because you just feel like, how could this have happened? And you're, a lot of people I've talked to, we've had, some podcasts around being angry at God. Through everything that we've read through history, we know that there's always some sort of catastrophe or pandemic or a war. There's things that have happened that have taken mass numbers of individuals out of the equation. And so I can't create life in terms of on the mass scale like God can, right? But I know that in a master plan somewhere, There are soldiers now on the other side for other reasons, and I can't look at death as a takeaway. I have to look at it as a circle of life, and I have to be able to be attuned to the gratitude that the gift that I need to take away is, again, the resilience and the beauty that I stopped seeing because I was so caught up in the consumer greed and the consumer fast and the consumer plugged into all this stuff and kind of being brainwashed by the BS, because a lot of it is just self-gratifying. And to be honest and be much more focused on community is where it feeds my soul. And so when I know I've helped someone and I know that my God is, my question to people is, if you were to meet God, like, what would God say? And I really want my child, my good, humble servant, well done, job well done. Like, that's going to be the best report card ever. There's no man on this earth that can give me or rate me because they don't know my heart sometimes, but my God knows my heart. And so my soul requires that I do the things that have been set out for me to do so that I can stay in tune and stay in step. And I'm not claiming perfection. I'm just saying that there's a process through which you do that. And you seek out information in the scripture, and you seek out information through, just good fellowship of like-minded individuals who also share similar beliefs. And then you stay fed on so many different levels that you're full. And that fullness is your testimony. And so I say, share that with the world and continue to resonate in love. And I just think that if you resonate in love, then you're in light. And whatever is in lightness can thrive. Anything that's in darkness does not grow.
Amen. Amen. Omega, did you have a question for Lady Holly?
Yeah, I did. It was in regards to it was actually a two-part question. One was, given the state of everything, do you have like your own principles in regards to what you recommend for a diet? And the other one is, consider a lot of people are utilizing the mask during this time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any concerns in regard to, like, all these masks have just been created and everything? There's always what they call off-gassing that happens from, things that are freshly created. There's a lot of plastics and stuff like that, and people are inhaling these, for prolonged periods of time. And there's been no real study on, people having masks on for this long a time. Yes, surgeons and doctors have had them on in certain cases, but not for this long a period of time. So I'm wondering if you have any advice on that, or views on this.
You got it. Thank you so much for the question. So diet for me started a long time ago. So I was almost at the pinnacle of 300 pounds at one point in my life. And I, was going to be faced with heart issues and diabetes issues and double knee replacements and all kinds of stuff. And I took the opportunity to take a journey with a nutritionist who also is into holistic care. And so I invite everyone to get their blood work done at some point in their journey, and to have what's called your panels read. And you have to do it with a nutritionist or a holistic kind of someone who sells supplements, dietary supplements, because most doctors are not going to do it. Most doctors believe in a care that is to care. They want to keep you diseased, right? So they don't care about what you're eating, in the sense they care that now you have gout and they're going to give you a pill to relieve the gout. And it's not a criticism. It is the way the system is set up, right? It is the system. So for me, diet was about what did my body tolerate and what did my body not tolerate. And so when a nutritionist is able to look at your panels, when I first had this done, I did it. There was a doctor who did it in the Jewish community out in Brighton Beach. And I'm not going to tell you it's cheap. It was $225 to get the study done. But from an ethnic perspective, what it did was look at your background, look at where you were deficient, what your body produces and what it doesn't produce, and then where you need supplements. and then demonstrated to me some of the foods that I was eating were actually killing me. My girlfriend was a keen example, thought she was losing weight every day, banana, yogurt, and a piece of whole wheat toast or granola. She was killing herself every day. She had a gluten intolerance, and the yogurt was giving her the probiotics, were changing the lining of her stomach into a point where she needed to stop that. She is a Russian Jew and Middle Eastern in terms of ethnicity, in terms of her background. When she switched to eating hummus and avocado and olive oil and the things that she thought were bad, going to be bad fats in her system, she lost more weight than eating that daggone yogurt and that banana and her like grain, because she was allergic to them and never knew it, and nobody ever told her. And just being able to be informed about your body on a level where you can understand that the things that you are going to now consume are going to impact your body, whether it's in carrying weight or in creating sugars. And so for me, I try to not do a lot of white processing things, right? So if they've gone through a process, then they've been bleached, which means that they're not already, by definition, considering some people told us to use bleach to get rid of corona. We know we're not supposed to ingest it, right? So for me, literally take a look at other plant-based living, like soy. People think it's bad. It's bad if that's all you consume. But we have so many options in soy products, in pea and bean proteins, in corn protein. Corn as a carbohydrate, not thinking of it as a vegetable, in terms of like tortillas and being able to go through your body to use it as a starch versus a pasta or a white floured rice, or versus a like couscous and quinoa and other things that we can ingest. And getting to love our beans. The things that grow here on this planet are the things that we're supposed to be eating. And it's like almost like the dinosaurs. When you look at the different dinosaurs, look at the ones who were plant-based. They had the longer lifespan, right? Versus the meat eaters. And I'm not saying that I don't eat meat. I do eat meat, but I do eat very, very clean, like free range, once a month, or maybe twice a month, because I'm anemic, and the level at which I'm anemic in my system, I know that even with supplements, I can get to a level that's really detrimental. So I do save that for a really good oxtail or a really good steak or a really good burger. But because I then don't eat the bun, right? So I use lettuce instead of a bun. I use, all the onions, all the sauce, all the other, but get rid of the bun, the bagel, get rid of the bread, get rid of the pasta, like macaroni and cheese. I love macaroni and cheese. Macaroni and cheese doesn't love me. So a spoonful of that is like something that I can have, I can taste it, and I'm good with that. But give me, guacamole and some like tricolor chips. I'm like, that could be lunch. Banana, fruits, chickpeas, curried is amazing thing. And I hated chickpeas. But like literally think about foods that you eat that make you happy and eat them. Because that literally is going to change your life. It really is. So that's diet. Masks, these things, right? So I tell you, make an investment. I like to match. So go get, for me, instead of wearing the mask, I went and got the filters, and I got a cloth mask, right? So that when I'm not in with people, and I did socially distance my office really early, and I tried to take off my mask as much as possible, because like you said, I don't know what I'm breathing in. But Paramount, whether it's the surgical mask, the KN95s that I was wearing for a little while, I washed them all. I washed them with carbolic soap or like Dettol. Every culture that I am has an antibacterial thing that they use. And when things were sparse, I knew in my closet I had everything to take care of it. So down to my skin, and then what was going on in my face, and then like the straps, I washed them and then I hung them out to air dry. And then when there's nobody with me, like now, I don't have my mask on. When somebody comes in, if they're 6 foot away from me, I tell them that they too can take their mask off. And I run my eucalyptus pretty much all day, with the exception or lavender, based on the fact that some people are allergic to eucalyptus. And I preface that by saying, if you can do a neti pot to clean out your nasal passages, or when you're taking your shower, clean out your nasal passages, or even do like they did in the old day, get a pot, boiling water, put some lemons in it, put a towel, and breathe. And do that once a week, because we're wearing these things a lot. And so I don't want the issues. And then, of course, as you heard, you can use fresh mint in hot water and then breathe that in every day, every morning. So that's some of the ways that I have been protecting my olfactory passages during this time with the mask wearing and my face. So it's not just,
He gives
not
you
just
two
diet.
thumbs up. Thank you, Omega, for giving her the two thumbs
Yes.
up. And Holly, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your insights, your wisdom, your knowledge. You've come and given us a trunk full of a treasure full of wisdom today. And that's all I can ask for from you. Thank you for being a living legend who shares and cares for other people.
Very, very welcome. Anytime. You know, if you call, it's like the bat phone. If she calls and puts the symbol up, I'm there, boy. So, all day, anything.
All
Awesome.
right. And Holly, what is the
Yes.
best? Can you please give us your websites and social URLs for people to reach you?
You got it. So my sex therapy relationship counseling is Know Thy Sex. The easiest one out of all is I'm actually redoing it is ladyholly.com or I am Holly Francis at gmail.com.
All right. If you email Holly, let me tell you about Holly. Holly follows up. Holly gets back to you. And she gives you real genuine help. And her websites are phenomenal, full of information, really helpful and useful and easy to use. So go visit her websites. Holly's also on social media. Can you give us your social media URL?
Yep, some Lady Hollywood at both Facebook and Instagram, and HFM Live Well also on Facebook because a lot of people have asked about this, you know, diet and all of the supplements and how to get. I think I'm doing this whole thing because melanin people have been doing I call the sustainability eating, because that's how we were introduced in this country in terms of how we got our diets formed and some of the byproducts of what we used to eat. And so now I, you know, just going through my own personal family journey with weight loss and addiction and all kinds of stuff in terms of my children and my watching my family go through it. We've changed out a lot of stuff, and so if I can help, I also have that attached to my Facebook page as well. So Lady Holly, or my initials, HFM Live Well, because I just want people to really, really understand that you're supposed to be here for a long time. It's not supposed to be a short trip for the most part. And if it is a short trip, it means you came to do something. And again, you got called home to be a soldier. So there's many mansions. I'm not afraid either way. I'm going to ascend out. I'm not going to die.
I love that. Yes. Great job, Holly. Great job.
Awesome. I love it. You are amazing. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And again, just know that you're doing God's work. So I love the blessing and anointing that's over you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, beloved, we have come to the end of this episode. And yes, it was all that and then some. We learned some great information to help us move to the next level on our journey. Holly came in and gave you insight about your inside, your outside, your mind, your spirit, how to cope in COVID, everything. Everything you need is in this video. So when you want to get encouraged, play back this video, pick up the lessons again because they're timeless. And I just want to thank you, Holly, for being such a phenomenal breath of fresh air. You were wonderful, and I thank you. And to you watching, thank you so much for watching and being part of this audience. Omega, thank you for your questions and for being a part of the audience. I appreciate you. God bless you. And to the rest of you, I appreciate you being a part of the audience, and God bless you. Well, we have come to the end of this show. This show was done because you are very, very important. You're very special and you're very precious, and you deserve nothing less than what God has promised you. And God has promised you a peaceful, happy, wonderful, prosperous life. Continue seeking God's face in all that you do, and a wonderful life will occur for you. Taboo Talk Virtual Show featuring me, your pastor, exists to help transform your mind, body, and spirit utilizing the principles of Jesus Christ. Please keep tuning in, and I promise I'll keep bringing subject matter experts like Lady Holly onto the show to help guide you, uplift you, and take you to the next wave. And yes, follow Holly. Go check out her websites, ladyholly.com, knowthysex.com. Check her out on Facebook and check out her HFM Live Well on Facebook, where she's dropping knowledge like she dropped it today, hot and heavy. Well, I'm telling you, she's the bomb.com, and we're lucky to have her as a part of the family. Well, until next time, take care of yourself, stay special, goodbye.